No, there's no time for that. The Ravens have reached me just in time to inform you that Stannis Baratheon's fleet has almost arrived at King's Landing. The first major battle for the Iron Throne is about to be fought, so there's no time for jokes. You don't have to be that happy about it, pricks. This is Start Raving! Welcome back, my friends. To recap, Stannis Baratheon, the younger brother of late King Robert, has decided to take the Iron Throne as ruler of Westeros. Something that hasn't sat well with the Lannisters and the snotty King Joffrey. After much talk and waiting, the battle is at hand. I call this episode Blackwater.
Stannis' fleet begins its final push towards King's Landing and the Mudgate, as predicted by Tyrion. Davos argues with his son Mathis over the technicality of whose side is the Royal Navy and whether or not the city will welcome the invaders with open arms. Tyrion and Shae decide there's no problem too big that it can't be ignored in favor of sex. Bronn and the Kingsguard spend the night singing songs, carousing with prostitutes, and getting blitzed on nut brown ale.
It should give the citizens a warm feeling in their hearts to know they can rely on the city's sworn defenders. You know, those drunks in the brothel.
The Hound arrives, but won't play nice with any of the others, taunting Bronn to the point that he almost draws his sword, but the alarms go off, warning of the incoming fleet. Grandmaster Pycelle gives Cersei a powerful potion, one potentially fatal. While armoring up, Tyrion is warned by Varys that Stannis' allegiance to the Lord of Light might mean that there are terrible days in store for King's Landing.
And tonight, I believe you are the only man who can stop him.
Tyrion and Bronn go over their plan one more time before parting ways.
Don't get killed.
Nor you, my friend.
Oh, are we friends now?
Of course we are. Just because I pay you for your services doesn't diminish our friendship.
Enhances it, really.
Tyrion then sees Sansa and Shae.
I will pray for your safe return, my lord.
Will you?
Just as I prayed for the kings.
I have to say, Sansa, she's starting to grow on me.
He and Shae share a quick farewell while Sansa goes to meet Joffrey. Joffrey has Sansa kiss his sword for luck before she embarrasses him by asking if he'll fight outside the city gates like her brother Robb would. He counters with promising to murder her brother.
Some of those boys will never come back. Joffrey will. The worst ones always live.
I hope not. I've got serious money riding against that little shit. Joffrey goes down, I clean up.
Bells begin ringing with Mathis believing they are being welcomed to the city. Davos knows better and orders his fleet's drums to start up. Joffrey wonders where the Lannisters' naval fleet has gone, but Tyrion is silent. This angers Joffrey, who threatens to have the Hound chop him in twain.
That would make me the quarterman. Just doesn't have the same ring to it.
Meanwhile, Cersei and her youngest son, Tommen, have rounded up the females of the court in a private room. She calls Sansa over and starts doling out the wine before explaining to her that the lone man in the room, Ser Ilyn, is there to protect them. Word reaches her that several of the citizens were captured trying to escape. Cersei orders them beheaded. They need to make sure the people of King's Landing are more afraid of them than Stannis. As the fleet begins to pull into the bay, a lone ship leaves King's Landing to meet them. As it passes his lead ship, Davos sees that it's unmanned and pouring wildfire out into the bay.
Get down!
Stannis' lieutenants counsel that they should retreat. He insists they continue on.
We're too far from the gates. Fire. There are archers. Hundreds will die.
Thousands.
As Sansa leads a prayer, the queen calls her over to tell her how her father discouraged her from praying after her mother died. As she gets more and more blitzed, Cersei relates how she hates her role as queen, but continues to do what is expected of her. Since Stannis is such a religious fanatic, she won't be able to seduce him before he conquers the city. There will be looting, murder, and rape. Tyrion sends the Hound to fend off those attempting to take the gate. With a word to the archers warning them to keep their fire away from him, he heads out and the battle is joined. Lancel doesn't last long before taking an arrow and retreating. As Cersei continues to lament her role in society, she sets sight on Shae. When Shae fails to curtsy properly, Cersei wonders how someone like her has risen to such an important spot in the court. Before she can get an answer, Lancel arrives with the news that the invading force will shortly arrive. She orders him to take Joffrey from the battlefield to safety before telling Sansa that Ilyn's true purpose is to murder these women before the enemy can get their hands on them. A flaming soldier...
Oh, yes. I've known a few of those in my day. Well, not known.
A flaming soldier almost gets to the Hound before Bronn shoots him down. This is enough to break his spirit, and the Hound retreats. He refuses to go back out and promptly tells Joffrey to fuck off. As the invaders batter the gates, Lancel arrives, and the terrified Joffrey uses this opportunity to run away, disheartening the guards and citizens. Tyrion decides to man up and offers to lead the soldiers through a hidden tunnel for an ambush. At first, they don't respond to him.
Those are brave men knocking at our door. Let's go kill them!
Lancel tells Cersei the battle's lost. He tries standing up to her, but she punches him in his wound and storms out with Tommen. Sansa quickly calms the women, but Shae tells her to hide lest Ilyn kill her. In her room, she finds the doll her father bought her after he was forced to kill her wolf lady. A fond moment of remembering is broken up by the Hound. He offers to take her from the city and return her to Winterfell, but she refuses. Tyrion leads a counterattack that destroys those taking the gate. With chance of half man abound, Stannis' troops swarm the beach. Just as this happens, one of Joffrey's guards tries to kill him, slicing his sword through Tyrion's face before he is killed by Tyrion's squire. Just as Tyrion passes out, a second army on horseback storms the beach. Cersei tells her youngest son the story of a lioness who loved her cubs and warned them against the other animals of the forest. She's about to have him drink the deadly potion when the doors are battered open. With the new army swinging the battle away from his favor, Stannis is dragged from King's Landing by his men, screaming for them to fight on. As soldiers pour into the castle, including Sir Loras, Tywin Lannister arrives, telling his daughter that the battle has been won.
You couldn't cover the spread, could you, Stannis? All you had to do was skewer Joffrey, and I would have cleaned up. But now I owe the cook 10 gold moons. Let's take a closer look at these events.
This is easily the best episode of the season. The action was well handled even if the scale was kept small to suit the budget of a television series. I mean, we never see more than 30 or so men on screen at any time, but shots like the rowboat landing and then the charge at the end help create an illusion of suitable scale thanks to CGI. The battle itself had some great moments, the best of course being the explosion that devastates Stannis' fleet. There were also some really bloody moments thanks to the prodigious use of CGI that helps sell the brutality of warfare. Peter Dinklage again steals the show as the only sane man trying to hold the city together, grimly forced into a position he doesn't want to be due to his duty to the family. I was also surprised by the sneak attack on him during the battle, proof that there's never a moment's rest from treachery. Besides Dinklage, just about all the actors in this episode did a great job. Cersei made up for her schizophrenia over the last few episodes by playing a woman growing ever more resentful and ever more drunk over her place in society. Sansa shone through as another voice of calm in this storm, showing herself to be every bit the natural leader that her parents were and providing a stark contrast, no pun intended, to Cersei's bitterness and irrationality. Even the Hound, a character we've barely touched upon and one whom I've never cared much about, got some important screen time. We see his bloodlust run dry as he's overcome by his fear of fire and tries to rescue the one person he has feelings for, Sansa, only to be rejected and have to skulk away. I'll even give Joffrey credit. I still hate him, but I'm supposed to, so Jack Gleeson does a good job here. Starting out all confident and quickly letting his true cowardice shine through. Although he doesn't run from the battle crying, he does it in a way that shows he's still more concerned about how others see him than what his actual duty and responsibilities are. Even minor characters like Shae and Lancel get moments to shine, Lancel finally standing up to Cersei for all the good it does him. Shae shows some fire and inner strength, defending both Sansa and Tyrion. I especially liked Bronn's farewell to Tyrion as we expose a real friendship at the heart of their relationship, something that may have surprised both men. A few characters fail to make a proper impact, though. Varys, for all his prophesizing in the first part, then disappears once the battle has started. Not unexpected, I suppose, but I would have at least liked to have checked in on him during the battle. Pycelle was also wasted with his first scene back after being deposed by Tyrion. The worst of this was Stannis, though. It's his ward, we don't even see him until halfway through. Even then, he doesn't do much except scale the walls, get on the ramparts, and then get dragged away kicking and screaming. I would have liked a few scenes of him strategizing. As is, he comes off as a man of action and not a thinker. My opinion of Stannis as an unimpressive character stands, I'm afraid. Still, by focusing this episode on this one battle, not cutting away to Robb Stark or Dany and Essos or any of the other characters, we drive home just how important these events were and give this battle the necessary attention that it deserved. By keeping the narrative so tightly focused, I was completely engrossed by this episode, and that's a good thing.
Also, this episode was written by one George R.R. Martin. Now, I see that he hasn't written anything else for this season, so he must be a bit of a hack. Still, this was a good job from him. You've got a real future, kid. This was the episode I'd been waiting for all season, where the consequences of war come home. I give Blackwater 5 severed heads of Sean Bean out of 5. It'll be interesting to see how next week's extra-long finale follows up on this and what impact Stannis' defeat has on the rest of Westeros. Anywho, this week's question comes to us from Your Worst Nightmare. Chickens? Oh. He, I assume, asks, Lord Stark, do you know the secret of Lord Karstark's epic beard? Well, yes, I do. And a darker tale you'll never hear. Let's show a picture of Lord Karstark. Now, he was a wealthy and powerful member of the family, but he was cursed with the rattiest, patchiest beard you ever did see. So he sought out a witch woman who told him the only way to undo this abomination of nature on his chin was to sacrifice 10 virgins from the Isle of Greece and bathe in their blood. Quicker than you could say Lady Bathory, he did this and grew the bushiest, most impressive beard you ever did see. The only thing was, it was grey. Oh, it suits him now, but back then he was in his late 20s. He tried everything. Ink, charcoal dust, even tar. Nothing would turn that beard black. Too late! He realized the blood spell was actually black magic, and his beard would forever suffer the curse of the Grecian formula. Remember, leave your questions in the comments section below, and I'll pick one to answer on next week's season finale. Until then, I am Lord Stark, and this is Stark Raving!